I think. What's up, everybody? James Bushell here, and we're here today live. I was going to do a normal video, but I got a bunch of exams. I don't have time to edit a video, so I thought, hey, I'd come on live, and then I thought, hey, I might as well bring Dorne superfan Tinker here, and she is going to introduce herself right now.
Hello, I'm Tinker Jaso. You probably know me. You probably see me in other videos with James. I have a YouTube channel, Tinker Jaso, and I do Game of Thrones videos. I do videos of other things as well, but Game of Thrones is starting now, so I'm going to be doing a lot of I'm going to be reviewing every episode.
Right on, and her channel will be in the description, of course. We are here to rehash Dorne. Of course, this scene elicited a lot of vitriol on the internet. I myself am, yeah, indeed. And I'm not even a Dorne fan, but I felt like when I was watching it, I was just like watching in shock at the craziness that was ensuing. And like, just to rehash the scene as quickly as possible. The scene starts, of course, with a walking Doran. And of course, in the books, he
can barely stand.
Yeah, he's walking with Ellaria in hand, and he ends up they're having their conversation. He gets up to the chair, and a maester comes in with a message, and of course, this message essentially says that Myrcella has been killed, and he gives Ellaria a look like I know what you did, essentially. And then, of course, is when the craziness happens. Tyene pulls out a 2-inch dirk and fells one of the greatest warriors in Westeros, in Arya Hota, by stabbing him back. People have said that he fell because it was poison. Well, that's some fast-acting poison, because he fell instantaneously.
And he didn't even try to move. He was just like... He didn't even try to turn around or to react. Nothing.
I know. He just died instantaneously, it seemed like. And then, of course, we get Oberyn Martell's paramour. Oberyn Martell, who loved his brother Doran greatly. We have Ellaria Sand stabbing Doran in the chest. Him looking in shock, and her giving this soliloquy about, oh, Dorne is done with weak men. It's time for the, for essentially was saying for me to rule, it seemed like, and I was like, well, okay. And
the guards just stood there, all of them, like idiots.
Yeah, it was just it was an interesting take for sure.
Really ridiculous take.
Yeah. And then we cut across to I don't know. Are they in Dorne? Are they in King's Landing? Are they in the middle of the sea? Where in the hell is Trystane? It wasn't made clear. I think me and Tier both were talking about it prior to the show, that it looked like that they were in King's Landing. If you look at the shot prior to the boat, it looks like it's in King's Landing, but then
yeah, I'm looking at it, but it's not even that specific to know, because the buildings kind of look like what we saw previously of Cersei. Like that kind of similar building. And what we've seen of Dorne are the water gardens, or what we're guessing is the water gardens, because they didn't even explain that.
Right. And then of course, the official...
there?
Yeah, it's definitely never answered. And I don't even know if we're ever going to get the answer, because I don't know if the showrunners care enough to give us an answer. But it was interesting. I saw on Twitter earlier, and then of course I found out that this is from the actual HBO Making a Game of Thrones blog, officially licensed by HBO. That they released the letter that Doran was reading, and it read, "The Princess Myrcella died by poison on her return journey. I suspect Ellaria. I'm assuming is what it says, not you. But my sister will demand war. I doubt Ellaria's head. I think it's saying that it won't appease everybody, but as a start, along with your nieces, your son cannot stay in King's Landing. I am sending him back on the same ship." So that kind of implied that maybe he was back in Dorne, or maybe he just hasn't left yet from King's Landing, because I thought it was King's Landing. But yeah, it doesn't really explain how Obara and Nim were there. Do you have any ideas, Tink?
That's why I originally thought that he was in Dorne, because that's how it would make sense for them to actually get there. Because, well, first things first, sending Trystane back once you already have him in King's Landing, that seems like a ridiculous move, especially after they killed the princess and they have the prince there. That's just stupid. That's so stupid. Come on. In what we've seen of Game of Thrones, that would never happen. Never in a million years. Not even Ned Stark would have sent him back. He would have left him in a very comfortable room, very nice, very comfy. But there was no way he would have sent him back, not until he had justice. And he's been in a ship with his dead daughter all the way to King's Landing, and he's just gonna send the guy back?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, it just seemed.
I think one scene we needed was a scene between Jaime and Trystane during their journey back, to kind of at least connect some dots, figure some stuff out, see where they're, see what course of action they're taking. We could have used that scene for sure. But I'm sure I don't know, I guess the showrunners, I just don't think they really cared about Dorne after last season, I think. But of course, after that happened, after we see that Trystane's on the boat, we see Obara and Nim come into his cabin. Yeah.
Armed.
Yeah. Armed and arguing about, hey, which one of us is going to kill our cousin? Because that's fun. And we eventually see Trystane like looking shocked, and then of course he turns his back on Obara, and Obara shoves a spear through his face. So that was essentially the scene. What was my thought process during when I was watching? I was just in shock. I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was unpredictable. I gave that credit. It was definitely unpredictable. I did not see it coming. It was like one of the things where I could not predict what happened.
What? He's walking? That just, why do you need that then? What the fuck? And what the fuck? And then my what the fucks just got worse and worse. And everything about that is just dreadful and horrible. And it makes no sense. No, and this is not coming from a book fan. As I said in my episode review, I decided that I was going to watch this show, completely separate, separating myself from the books, mainly because I love the show and I want to enjoy the show, and staying and sticking to what I have in my head about the show of the books is not gonna help me enjoy the show. It's not. It's only gonna frustrate me. It's only gonna make me angry. It's only gonna just make me not enjoy it. It was very hard last season, and there was a lot of things that I didn't enjoy, mainly because I was stuck inside the books, and I thought, no more. No more. I'm going to focus on the show because I want to enjoy the show. I don't want to watch the show to be always saying, I hate it. No, I want to enjoy it. So I decided that was what I was going to do. But this is just bad writing. This is just bad storytelling. The fact that people can't even decide on where that ship is, on where Trystane is, and how the hell they even got there. People are not supposed to be arguing about locations.
Right.
If you're arguing about location, something's very wrong because you've done something very badly to the point that they're focusing on that sort of thing. And I don't understand what they've done with Ilaria. Ilaria on season 4, when we met her with Oberyn, she was not violent. She even tried to contain Oberyn in the first episode. We saw her because he was there attacking and she didn't want a bloodbath. She was not a vengeful person. In the books, you see, I'm going to the books, but the character, what we knew of her, she was someone who loved Oberyn, who loved him, who was, warm and funny and adventure and a lover, but she was not, a killer. She was not a poisoner. She was not someone that was so cold. She's saying that she's doing it for Oberyn, but she's killing the people that Oberyn loved. Oberyn loved his older brother. They were very close. They worked closely together. he loved his family. There was no way that he would accept Tristane's death by his own daughter's hand. And Oberyn and Miria, they didn't even blink. They didn't even care. There doesn't even seem to be warmth between them. And Oberyn was all about warmth, was all about loving those that were close to him. And it doesn't seem that like they even like each other. I don't know. I think that they're trying to do this whole, badass. And badass is about being, this assassin and killer and just being, cool but not having feelings. And they just took, they're trying to do like female empowerment, but they're doing completely the opposite. This is not female empowerment to me at all. Killing your own family, being a traitor, not even having warmth. No, there's no love, no care, no any. This is just bad storytelling, and I don't know what the hell. Yes, I'll give it a surprise. I agree with you there. I was shocked. They shocked me, but not in a good way.
Yeah, I remember I said Oberyn Martell is rolling in his grave right now with his family killing each other. His former paramour killing the brother that he's loved. Yeah, and I remember someone was arguing with me that that Dorne was all about female empowerment. I don't find anything empowering in murder, murdering children and also murdering your family. I don't get how it's empowering. But yeah, and I can separate the books from the show. I like the show just fine. I actually like the episode for the most part, aside from that scene and a few others. But yeah. And, the reason why I can separate it from book and show is that I felt like the show lacked some logic here. Will the noble houses of Dorne accept a bastard paramour of Oberyn Martell, his bastard daughters, slaying their prince, the Prince of Dorne, and then also accepting them ruling? That's what doesn't make sense to me. If that's the case, if Ellaria is going to be the leader of Dorne, I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever, unless they are just completely eliminating all other noble houses of Dorne. But why would the guards even be, why would the guards even be part of her plot? It just doesn't make much sense to me. How do you feel about that situation?
I completely agree. It doesn't make sense. One, the guards not defending them, it just seemed ridiculous. First, because as I mentioned in my review, the Boltons are horrible, evil bastards, but I bet you that their guards would defend them to the death. The same thing with the Lannisters, with Joffrey. And here was this man that the only thing that he wanted was to protect his people. And for them not to be war? No offense, but there's not a chance in hell that they would just allow him to be killed. Because then their jobs are over. No one else would trust those guards. Who would trust guards that won't defend you? It's like completely against everything we've seen. And it's very important, bloodlines and power. Everyone, not only that, the Martells are not unchallenged. As in every single region, there's always been another house that has been almost as powerful. We've seen it with the Boltons and the North. The Martells, I don't remember, the name is not coming now. It's the one that in the books one of his kids was fostered there.
Ironwood.
And this is the only thing this would cause would be for that family to suddenly want to be the rulers of Dorne, the Lord Paramounts. It's the only thing that would cause that. It would cause civil war in Dorne between other houses wanting to suddenly have the power in Dorne. It's the only thing that would cause. There's no way, because bastards might be thought of better in Dorne, but not enough to actually rule. Right. And not only that, especially not if they've betrayed. Not only that, king slaying it's a huge taboo in Westeros. Kinslaying is one of the worst things you can do. It's one of the things that Stannis had then a lot of problems with, because people saw him as a kinslayer. People thought that he'd been the one who'd caused the murder of Renly, and that was a big deal. And we're talking about the heir to the throne, who is no, it's not a bastard. It's a legal heir, a man of age and experience and military and everything. And that little thing was something that was it was not acceptable. And suddenly they just went into mass murder of the prince and the heir, and they're just gonna let them get away with it?
Yeah, and something just popped in my head. You remember the scene where Tyrion was supposed to greet Oberyn? There is other Dornish houses. They had them shown. They had their tabards shown and their sigils shown. But because I was thinking this is as we get into how to fix Dorne. We know, like you said, with the Starks, you have the Boltons in the north. There's other northern houses but they've obviously positioned like the Boltons as kind of the main other northern house. You have the Freys, and you have House Tully with the Freys. You have I'm not sure. I can't think of any other. Oh, you have like Tarly with the Reach with the
no Tarly, the high towers.
Yeah, with the Tyrells. So it would have been cool. Like, you can't really go back and do it now, obviously, because when I say how to fix Dorne, it's with everything that's been done at this point. We can't go back in time when I'm asking this question. So it would have been cool to like, and the problem is that I haven't seen any casting news. You just add one Dornish house and they introduce them, and like it could be Darkstar, it could be with the Danes. You just say that Darkstar is the head of the House Dane or whatever, or it could be House Ironwood. Even though Ironwood would no way do this in the books, we don't believe, but for show purposes, you could have them be like this figure that's working from the shadows. You could have like a scene where they're like manipulating Alari and the Sand Snakes, like saying, "Well, I'll legitimize you if you pull this off. You'll have a high place in my court. And then he guarantees that they'll exact revenge and go to war with the Lannisters. Something like that. Have a scene where you have a reason why this was happening, and a solid reason. You'd have to have someone of high ranking, of a high noble house that could come in and take the spot, and that people would actually follow. Or once again, we haven't ever had casting news, but it could have made sense if there was Aegon. Like for some reason John Connington was sending well, I don't have Connington, but so Aegon was sending communications with Dorne, and somehow Laria was getting the messages and was saying, like, we'll join your side if we pull this off, and I'm the leader of Dorne or something like that. But I think the first way would have been better, where you had a noble house working from the shadows to usurp Doran in this point. This is just from a show perspective. Like, how would you feel about that?
The problem is that it's a bit too late to suddenly introduce. The problem with Dorne is that Dorne is completely underdeveloped. Like, we don't even know if we're in the Water Gardens or in Sunspear. They wouldn't even give us that information. That's how little we know of Dorne. Literally, when we see it, it just says Dorne, which is ridiculous because it's the only place they've done that with. The only place in all of that world that they haven't even specified where they are. So if we don't even know where they are, we don't even, in that scene where Tyrion was supposed to meet Oberyn, we have Pod saying a few of the houses, but it's one mention in 1 second, and that's it. And they're all dressed the same, all very generic, there's nothing that we know that if they appeared, this shadowy house, it'll be like so very convenient. Oh, look, this is what was happening from the beginning. But we never got any hint of that. Last season, Ilaria spoke all about vengeance. From their point of view, it was Marcella who they wanted to kill to force the Lannisters to go to war. Like, there's nothing. They haven't sowed any seeds that they could use later on for that. That's the problem. They left Dorne in a way so unconnected. It's part of the Seven Kingdoms, but it doesn't feel part of the Seven Kingdoms because it's not explained in the same way. It's not. I don't know. Like, we haven't been in the Reach either, and we haven't even seen anything in the Reach. but we've been introduced to the Tyrells little by little. Their characters have developed. We've seen them more. The reasons for them for doing things have all made sense. But this is just suddenly like they're play acting in another area that just, I don't see how this story connects at all or will have any influence with the rest of the storyline, because except for Marcella to die. It looks like Dorne was there for Marcella to die and for that to start really creating a change for Cersei and for Jaime. That's what it looked like. You know, for Jaime to have a little adventure last season, and for the after effect of Marcella's death now.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be, you know, to have this shadowy house would obviously be an ex machina, as I like to say, as a way to explain things. But I don't see any other, like, it's like, what I want for show watchers, like, I want to know, will show watchers accept the fact that and once, I mean, I think it's obviously stupid, but in their society, bastards, even though in Dorne they're more recognizable, or, you know, they're more accepted, but still, they, you know, these other noble houses would not accept a bastard just like that, just because they killed Duran. It just doesn't make any sense. And I would hope show watchers would, you know, be able to recognize that it doesn't make any sense. But I think Dorne is just going to, I mean, I think they'll probably just going to roll with it. Do you think that that's what they're going to do, just have Ellaria and the Sand Snakes rule Dorne?
A part of me fears yes, a part of me hopes desperately that it's not the truth, because then I would be really, really disappointed in the show, because then they're breaking their own rules. They know how this world works, and for them to be doing this, it seems like the cheap, easy shot, because it's very stereotypical. Suddenly someone doesn't like what you're doing, they kill you and they take the throne. It's very, come on, how many times we've seen this? Like 1,000,000 times. And in this case, he had Ellaria, he had a Sun Snakes and create that. But it wouldn't make any sense in this world, and it would feel like they just didn't care enough about the story and about creating. And because I understand that Doran's storyline, like his plans, were very complex, and it affected things that they don't have space for in the show. Because let's be honest, this show is enormous, and way too many characters. They've had to cut some stuff. And maybe they didn't have space for all of Duran's plans, so they made up another story. I can understand that. My problem is that it doesn't feel like they've tried to really create a thrilling and clever story the same way they've had in the books. It's like when they adapt as faithfully as they can, the great ideas that George has, they look very great. But whenever they try to do their own thing, it's like they don't even try to be clever or be very intelligent or do something, you know, different. They just go for what's easy. That's what it feels right now for me, Dorne. It feels like they haven't really they put any effort in it at all. They've just gone for what's easy. And that would be very disappointing for me.
Yeah, you know, I'm getting an echo. Like, looking back, like, I just don't even understand why they even wasted time casting Duran. It seems like Duran and Ariahota, they didn't do anything. You could have just had, like, I don't know, a pissed off Ellaria from the start, I guess. But, well, I guess you had to have someone be the leader of Dorne. But I just understand why they did it. If the whole purpose of Dorne was just so to kill off Marcella, you know, you could have just had, like, someone poison her in King's Landing or something, or, like, you know, like the Cat's Paw against Bran back in season 1. I just don't know. So the question is, can it be fixed? Do you think it can be fixed?
I think the only way to fix Dorne is just to leave Dorne. I think that storyline has to die. I think that right now is just wasting space, because as we said, it's a very crowded show. And to be wasting time in this storyline that it's not doing anything and it's only hurting the show. Jaime is gone. Marcella's already dead. the Martells are dead. We're clearly not going to have any storyline with their Aegon or going to find Dany. So I think they should just close this storyline and just end it.
They definitely have to. Well, they have to resolve it somehow, because like, how would you say they resolve it? Because you got to have, now obviously Cersei is going to want to have vengeance. You got to do something about who's leading Dorne and what to do with the sand, like how to close out the Sand Snakes and Ellaria. Like, you just have them get killed somehow, and then like have Cersei appoint someone leader of Dorne, or like how would you rectify that situation? Because I don't think you just leave it open ended.
Yeah, and Ellaria obviously has to die. She's the one who actually killed Marcella. As Jamie say, Ellaria has to die. But who the hell would lead Dorne? We haven't met anyone in the show that could actually take over.
Yeah, no, it's like if they would have kept Trystane alive, it might have worked.
Yeah, but Trystane is obviously very, very dead. Like, you cannot survive a spear to the head.
Right, and you can't give Dorne to one of the Sand Snakes. They're all a part of the plot. So
and they're all bastards.
Yeah, they have to resolve it somehow, and I just don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. That's why I don't know. Maybe they just kind of leave it open-ended throughout this whole season, and then you find out, they cast some Dornish lord next year, or they cast, here's Arianne. She was in Essos for some reason the whole time, and now she's going to be leader Dorne. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they're going to rectify the situation. Is what I'm saying.
Neither do I. Somehow Ellaria and the Sand Snakes have to die and then just leave Dorne.
Yeah,
because
and
I don't see any other way.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him like killing Ellaria and the Sand Snakes, and then like in a conversation, Cersei's like, "Oh, I planted so and so as leader of Dorne," and then that's it. I could see something like that.
They've killed the Martells. I can actually believe that they've killed. There's not a single Martell left. I love the Martells, and they're a great family. They haven't even introduced properly. Like, it's such a waste of character, such a waste of a great kingdom and actors. Why would you cast, as you say, those two actors?
Especially
such a ridiculous, pathetic way.
Especially Alexander Siddig, he's a great actor. He was like in Deep Space Nine and a bunch of good movies, and I just don't. Yeah, and they just. Yeah, he had like, I bet if you went back, you re-examined his, like, how many lines do you think he actually had? Like 8, 10 throughout the whole series. It seems like maybe 20 at the most. It was crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to say. So essentially, Dorne can't be fixed. That is the gist of our conversation.
Yes, Dorne cannot be fixed. Like, I don't know, maybe if they've left Doran's death, somehow ambiguous, they've done that before, and for him not to be completely dead, I don't know. It's more his death, but it's just, no, Ellaria was there watching him die. And he's just, I just don't know. I don't know.
I don't remember what you said, but like, because I'm curious to know. You're sitting down, you're watching the episode. Your first thought when you see Ellaria stabbing Doran?
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was essentially mine, and I remember I was like, oh man, I can't wait to watch Tinker's reaction on this, because it's going to be epic. Because I know you're the big Dorne fan, and I was just like, I was feeling for all the Dorne fans out there when I was watching the scene.
I understood what all of the Stannis fans felt.
Heartbreak.
I can understand now. I realized that I haven't been very nice with Stannis, and I understand the fans now. When they heard your storyline that you really love, you're sort of like,
well, I mean,
the same thing happened to me with what they did with Sansa last season. At least they're making her, but at least they're fixing that a bit now.
I will say, at least us Stannis fans got a storyline for like 4 seasons. I mean,
Yeah.
Dorne didn't even have a storyline. It was just crap from the go.
Yeah, there wasn't even a good moment, like one moment that I could say I like this. Well, Sansa did have good moments. He had good moments that he even won me over.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that.
So what, the bad pussy line, that wasn't a good moment?
I'm afraid to go back from Tien. Tyene, I always pronounce it incorrectly. Nymeria, I could see it coming from Nymeria. But for them to make it from Tyene as well, it's an insult. Mm-hmm. It's an insult because they all looked the same. They're like the three, they haven't even, I don't know, I like that in the books, every single one of them was different. They each served a very specific purpose also in the story. Obara, she's the one that's the closest to the actual character. You know, she was big, she was a brute, you know, although she's too pretty and too sand snaky in the show. She's much uglier and much more of a beast in the books. Then Nymeria, she was the seductress, you know, the one with the knives, you know, the one that, you know, even if she was half naked, she was still very powerful that way. And then Tyene, she was like a nun. Her mother was a septa, which is like the Westeros version of a nun. And she was all blonde, blue eyes, she looked all angelic, and she could poison you without you noticing, but she would be all angelic and sweet and nice while you died and screamed in agony.
Mm-hmm.
So very nice. And here they just look the same. They basically even dress the same. It's just pathetic and just uninspired. Very uninspired. It's very clear which of the storylines are not their favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly see the characters and the storylines that they do not favor because they don't give them the attention that they give the other storylines.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, if next episode they show a 2-minute segment of Alaria, the Sand Snakes getting killed, and someone implemented as the new leader of Dorne, I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
And never see Dorne again.
Never see Dorne again. It's painful, but it's better. It's better not to watch your favorite storyline be butchered constantly. I prefer it to just end. And give us more time with other storylines that they're doing a good job with. Mm-hmm. Or at least maintaining the interest, like the whole Jon storyline. I'm dying to see what happens with that. They changed a bit what they did with his death and everything, but I think that everything they did was valid. I understand the changes.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, as long as Sir Davos is alive and well, I will continue to watch the show. That being said, do you have any last thoughts on anything we've talked about, on Dorne in general or anything?
It was just very painful for me to watch. It was very disappointing. It was the black mark of the episode because, you know, some moments were better, some were not as good, but there was nothing that I outright hated except Dorne. And I think that the first episode would have been so much better if they've just gotten rid of that. If that just did not happen in the first episode, I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake because I think it's the part that everyone mostly just did not like. So I just hope we get only one more episode in which everything is resolved and we do not see them again, ever.
I'd be fine with that. Because like I said, in my review, I gave the episode a 6 out of 10. And I think if you just would have replaced the Dorne scenes with something benign, they didn't add or subtract at all from the show, I probably would have gave the episode like an 8 or 8.5 because I love the Davos stuff. I love the stuff in the North. I love the Mel reveal. I'm intrigued by that by a lot. But just the Dorne just like subtracted 2 points right off the bat for me is how it ended up being.
Completely agree because Dany's storyline, it was kind of okay. I hated that they go. There's just like certain things that they fall back on, which I think are very cheap and easy. Like the whole thing where the Dothraki are talking badly at her and they're saying lewd, horrible. It's like whenever they don't know what to do or what to say, they go back to the lewd and disgusting and violent. Like, it's completely necessary. We already know they're savages. We already know that they treat women badly and that they have slaves and whatever. We don't need that repeated 100,000 times every single time. They don't have an idea about what to do.
I hear you. All right, so yeah, I think we're done talking about Dorne. I'm hoping we don't have to do any more Dorne conversations on YouTube anymore.
Let's hope that our last Dorne conversation is a celebration that Dorne is ended.
Yes, hopefully that's the case. So did you want to, say who you are, where people can find you, if you got any projects coming up, anything like that?
As I said, I have a channel, Tinker Jaso, and right now this month has been insane. It's been absolutely insane. I've been traveling everywhere. It's been very hard to keep up with my videos. Hopefully things will relax a bit, but I don't know, because I'm looking for another place. I'm looking for another home in a month or so who knows. But I am definitely going to be reviewing all of the Game of Thrones episodes. That's one of I did that for last season. I reviewed every single episode. I'm going to do this for this season as well. Hopefully, I'll be more on time for the next ones, but I cannot promise it. But that's what I'm going to be doing for the next several weeks.
Yeah, I feel you. I am in the middle of finals season, so until about mid-May, I'm only going to be doing probably one video a week, and it'll be the episode review. After that, I plan on doing a video a week plus a video, the episode review as well. So hopefully you guys like this conversation. I hope you share it on social media, and then you subscribe to both of our channels. I'll put Tinker Jaso's channel in the description. And just hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys. Adios.
Bye-bye.